morning, everyone. Let's sing something very, very, very strong. This is the last, I think, one of the last songs we sang with Stephen in his house. He loved this one. Da 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 This is from the Reb Avraham. The Reb Avraham is the previous Slonim Rabbi. You know, we have mitzvah Shalom, which is, I think, even the father, the grandfather, the mitzvah Shalom. And it's a very exciting piece to learn because this Shabbos we have a lot in one parsha, a lot, like we learned on Monday night. This Shabbos has the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim, the actual Yetziah of Mitzrayim as well. However, it also has the last 3 plagues, but what it also has is the first mitzvah. And when you learn about the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, so it's got to take us back to the first Rashi in the Torah as well. Remember, the first Rashi in the Torah is talking about why didn't the Torah start from here? It should have started from here. This is the first mitzvah that's given to us. Why did it start where it started in Bereshis? Now, by the way, is that true that this is the first mitzvah that was given to us? No, there were 2 other mitzvahs that were given to us before and Gid Hanasha. The Gid Hanasha, what do you call it? Huh? Yeah, whoever. Yeah. Right, exactly. So that Indian too. So I saw Rav Kook explains how those mitzvah is like the mitzvah on individuals. It's not everyone in Bris Milah, it's men. So he said over there that the Torah starts from the first mitzvah that's shaykh to absolutely every single yid, which is Kiddush HaChodesh, which is this manim. It has to do with every single Jew. And you have to remember that's how the Torah chooses to start its, consideration of what mitzvahs are all about, that it's for absolutely everyone. It's got to be that it starts from a place that everyone feels that they're shaykh to it. What he's going to be doing here is a very, very, I think it'll give us a lot of chizuk. This short piece will give us a lot of chizuk. Let's go right into it. Chodesh hazeh lachem. The Rashi, Reish Bereshis, maybe Mama Rabbi Yitzchak. And the Rashi starts off the Torah, his parish in the Torah, and he says where he found Rabbi Yitzchak, who says, Lo yatzorich lahaschiras haTorah ela mechodesh hazeh lachem. He says, Rabbi Yitzchak says, the Torah. By the way, who is Rabbi Yitzchak that Rav Rashi is referring to in the beginning of the member? Huh? Ikar Sifsei Chachamim says, we looked throughout the whole Agada, everything. We don't find any Rabbi Yitzchak that says such a thing. Who is he talking about? Like Rabbi Eshel said, Rashi decides to begin his Perush on the Torah with mitzvah kibud orim, giving kavod to his Abba, who's Reb Yitzchak. Rashi's name is Reb Shlomo Yitzchaki, Reb Shlomo, the son of Yitzchak. He's quoting, he begins his Perush on the Torah, quoting something that he heard from his Abba. Such a beautiful way of starting his whole period, because Rashi keeps on talking, and he keeps on escorting us throughout the whole thing. But we say Akol Echachar Atchala, that everything follows the beginning. So he wanted to start off his perush on everything by giving kavod to his Abba. So again, this Rabbi Yitzchak says, Lo ya tzarich latchin ta Torah, ela ma'achodesh hazeh lachem. It should have started over here. What's the word Torah mean? What does the word Torah mean? Literally, on a literal translation, what does Torah mean? Does anyone know?
Instruction, right?
Manual, yeah, like hora'ah, instructions. So if it's an instructive manual, that means it should start with the first instruction. Makes a lot of sense, if that's what it's about. It would have made more sense if the Torah was called Sefer HaHistoria, the book of, or Sefer HaToldos, the book of genealogy. I would understand a little bit easier, that clearer why the Torah should be called. If it was called Sefer HaToldos, because that's what the first book of Bereshis is all about, and really Shmos as well, the beginning of it.
Would have been a little bit strange though.
If what?
If it didn't come in chronological order. I mean, to start here
Correct.
and then to go back.
No, then it'll be a different Sefer. I mean, you don't call it, have a book called Torah, which is just, you're right. But
so from this till the
right,
end, and then it would be two separate things.
Sure, I mean, it would have made, I think it would have made more sense, no?
I don't know. I'm not going to disagree with God.
I'm going to remind you about that one, okay?
Not at this point.
I did that right away. It's all recorded. Remember, you hate these recordings, but now we have you recording saying Noach Rosenberg said, I will not disagree with God, comma, on this matter. We'll edit it. We'll take out the on this matter out. I love you, Noach. Umatam patach b'Bereshit. So why did he begin with Bereshis? Right? Mishum, the famous Rashi, koach ma'asav higid le'amo. What does that mean? Koach ma'asav higid le'amo. The strength of his actions, he told his people that what? Remember, this is the famous Zionist Torah. That if Umas Olam come to you and say, this land is not yours, what do you then say? It's not. I didn't decide that the land should be mine. It was God that decided, just like He decided everything else over here. But we're going to understand this parashi a little bit differently. The reason why the Torah starts from Bereshis is he says here, Mishum koach ma'asav higid le'amo, because he told over to his people the strength of his actions. What does that mean? We're not quite sure yet. But because he wanted to give us over how to get strong first, that's basically the pshat here, because he wanted to explain to us how to get strength. Therefore, afterwards, that's why we have a book and a half of just figuring out how to man up, basically. If you think about it, how to go through heaven, how to go through hell, how to come back, how to go back to hell, how to come back again. Man up, and then you meet the first mitzvah. Hatam. Shaya tzarich להתחיל את התורה מהחודש הזה לכם. The reason that the Torah should have begun from this first mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, of sanctification of your new moon. Ki zohi tachlis HaTorah. This is the whole essence. This is the purpose of the Torah. Sheyehudi ya'avod laHashem yitbarach tamid behitchadshut ubechiyut. What's the purpose? Not just that you keep the Torah, but that the manner in which you keep the Torah is with, what's hitchadshut? Renewal and chiyut, vitality, life force. Not just that you keep the Torah, but that the way through which you keep the Torah has to be with renewal. And that's why a lot of the Rebbes always explain to us the first mitzvah that was given to us was the power that Hashem shows us. Al pi your edus, you can renew time. You can mechadish yourselves as well. You can always renew yourself as well. That's the whole concept of Kiddush HaChodesh, is the mitzvah of renewal. That's why it would have made sense to begin the whole Torah from there. But at least we understand now why this was chosen to be the first mitzvah that we're taught. But we still have a good question. Then why wasn't this, if the whole thing is about renewal, let me just start right away with renewal, with the first mitzvah. Why? I don't need, what, do I really need all these weeks and months and learning about stories that give me koyach? I can just renew myself, that'd be enough. But all of us know that, even though we know that to be true, how do we generally renew ourselves?
Waking up in the morning?
Hopefully. For some people, it's the most old thing in the world. It's such an old thing already, waking up. He's going to explain to us here how the Torah tells us how to renew ourselves. We might not like it in the beginning. That means we don't understand it good enough, because when we eventually understand what we're about to say, we'll realize how lucky we are. Again, כי זוהי תכלית התורה שיהודי יעבוד להשם יתברך תמיד בהתחדשות ובחיות. כמאמר בכל יום יהיו בעיניך כחדשים. That every single day, like this shachris we had right now, alavai, that it should be in our eyes that it was like new, that it was something new, because we know how it is with new things. Achen, mi shekvar nafal v'kilkel ma'asav, but someone who has already fallen and kilkel. What did you say? Kilkel?
Spoiled.
Yeah, he spoiled. He made his actions rotten. Kilkel ma'asav. Eino yachol od la'avod b'vchina zo shel hitchadshut. A person like that is not capable of feeling like he's working Hashem, he's doing avodas Hashem like new. You understand what he said here? A person that it was mikalkel ma'asav, a person that, what does it mean to spoil your actions? What does that mean? You put shmutz into the way that you serve Hashem. It becomes real. You put kind of...
You're not in the moment.
You're not in the moment. You're doing it on an action level, you're doing it. Your head is completely not there. What ends up happening? What's the biggest effect? It's not that you're doing an avera, but it's that the mitzvahs don't feel like they're anything new.
It's avodah zarah.
Ah, very good. Avodah shehi zara lecha. You don't feel close to it. You're doing it. You show up to shul. Everything's right in the book, but there's no hitchadshut. There's no chodesh hazeh, and slowly, what ends up happening is you become weak. That's the bottom line. Like, you're still keeping Torah and mitzvahs, but there's no power, there's no strength in avodas Hashem. And you keep on going to shul, but you feel weaker and weaker. And you keep on spending $25,000 every year on your children's Jewish tuition. And yet it feels like the weakest transaction of money you ever did. When really, what should you feel when you spend so much money on Jewish education? Chazak, koach ma'asav. But it doesn't feel new, it doesn't feel real, because your heart's not in it. And there's no itchadshut. Achen mi shekvar nafal v'kilkel ma'asav. Someone who's fallen, he can't serve Hashem anymore on the level of his chadshus. Uchema'amar hakatuv v'lo yira'eh becha ervat davar v'shav ma'acharecha. I think that's a pasuk from the Tochech. With that Dvarim Chav Gimel Tezvot. Anyone have a Chumash here? 1 second. I want to make sure we know where that pasuk is from. Dvarim Chav Gimel Tezvot. It's a very important pasuk to understand. This is what happens to us. Kitei Tzei, Nachon. Sorry, it's not from the Tochecha. It talks about over here, when you go out to war. כי השם אלוקיך מתהלך בקרב מחניך להצילך ולתת אויביך לפניך והיה מחניך קדוש. The way that you're able to truly keep your machane kadosh is when you let Hashem walk amongst you to save you and to deliver your enemies right in front of you. ולא יראה בך ערוות דבר ושב מאחוריך. You won't see the ערוות דבר, none of that will be part of the way that you live your life. ושב מאחוריך, and it goes behind you. But here the way he's going to explain it is that ולא יראה בך ערוות דבר ושב מאחוריך, היינו שאינו יכול לזכות לבחינת פנים. A person doesn't merit when he's mekalkel his maasim, when he becomes cold with his avodas Hashem, he doesn't merit the aspect of panim. What's panim? Face. That you feel like you're standing face to face with Hashem. Ela tzarich la'avod b'yigiah, but you have to do it and you have to work so hard and toil until you feel it again. Bechinat me'acharecha, v'shav me'acharecha. What does it mean that you serve God on the level of from behind? B'li shum tam behergish. I don't feel it. I'm not in front of God, panim b'panim. I feel like I'm chasing after God from behind, and I don't feel, like when you feel like Hashem is right in front of you, then you feel the taste and the smell of your mitzvahs. You sense it. It's much more alive in your life. And then there are times where I don't feel it. So what do we end up doing when we say I don't feel it? What's our natural gut reaction? What's our default zone? When I say, I'm not doing it. Why? Why not? Because God doesn't want me to be what do we usually say? A robot. So I don't feel like it's in front of me. So instead of realizing that I have to work harder to figure out how to get back in front, what do I end up doing? Forget it. This is not real. When I feel it, when I'm on, that's when I should be doing it. And when I don't feel it, when I'm not on, that just means like wait till you feel it. And here he's saying over here that wait till you feel it never works. It never really works. And if it does, it'll fade again. It'll fade away very, very fast. Because what's a yid's job in this world is to work, is to toil, while he's in a state of not necessarily tasting and feeling it, because what does that end up showing him that he's capable of doing? Anything. You see, when Hashem made it like this, that you shouldn't always feel it, because if you always felt it and it always was right in front of you, you're not aware at all of your capacities and your strength and your power. What Hashem really wants us is to be conscious and aware of how strong we are. And we realize how strong we are when dafka, we don't taste anything, but we still keep on going for it. The whole concept of shelo lishma ba lishma, the whole concept of avoda ahava she'ena tluya b'davar, love that's not dependent on anything. V'al yedei ha'amal, you see the words v'al yedei ha'amal? Like 10 lines from the top. V'al yedei ha'amal, from the bottom, v'al yedei ha'amal v'yigia, yuchal lechadesh benafsho, chiyus ve'itchadshus ba'avodas Hashem. When you are through the toil and the hard work, you are capable of renewing in yourself chiyus ve'itchadshus ba'avodas Hashem. We always think that his chadshus is, well, if God lets me feel like it's new again, God will let me feel it like it's new again. But the whole thing of renewal is not something that God gives you. It's that he gives you the choice that you do it to yourself, that you wake yourself up.
It's actually interesting because it's in those times that when you fight it to overcome and when you're not feeling it, if you do overcome it, you actually, it's 100 times better, it's the highest.
Infinitely
it's the best, yeah.
Infinitely
it's better than it
stronger.
even was when you were just going through and you were feeling it a little bit. It's that obstacle that you have to get over, that when you do, it's 100 times better.
Absolutely.
But when you started, it was so much lower than the norm. When you overcome it, you can't even compare it to
If when you started and there was nothing, and then God comes and says, okay, I want to make you feel new right now, so that might feel new for that moment, but that's not something that lasts within you. What lasts within you has got to be something that comes from within, not externally, internally. And we all really, really want to understand how to mechadesh ourselves, how to renew ourselves. Again, this is what the whole first mitzvah is all about, and why the Torah doesn't start with it. Because what would happen? If the Torah would have just started with the Chodesh Hazeh Lechem, what would have happened?
So we would have given up.
We would, where would we be part of it? Where would we as a human being have any connection to this power of renewal? Nothing. So therefore, we have to wait a book and a half to learn about what? That man works really hard. That man works really hard. For what? So that the chiddush comes from him and lasts. This is so beautiful. V'zeu omro. This is what it means. Matam patach be'bereshit. Why did he begin with bereshis? Mishum koach ma'asav higid le'amo. Because what was he higid le'amo? What was he telling his people? The koach of the ma'asim. How powerful your actions really, really are. How powerful your toiling really, really is. It's not just nice checklist that you did a good thing, but that it's so much more than that, because you're enabling yourself to really be plugged in and tune into things that last.
Because he doesn't say masav, he gives them what's called masav.
Koach, very good. Right, koach masav. That the strength that comes from your toiling is what Hashem is telling us for a book and a half until we reach the first mitzvah. So beautiful. Hainu. Shenatan lanu HaKadosh Baruch Hu et hakoach shel asiyas mitzvos ma'asiyas. That God gave us the strength of doing mitzvahs ma'asiyas, actual mitzvahs, afilu pli tam v'hargasha. Even without feeling it and tasting it. He gave within us the strength to be able to do those things. Shezeh mesugal lehavi li'itchadshut b'fchinat hachodesh hazeh. That all those mitzvahs that I don't necessarily understand and I don't necessarily feel the high, and yet I do it, those explain to me, they give me the koach to then what? Have itchadshut. Is this stimming? Is this going inside? Al derech shene'emar, just like it says, the mitzvah tzitzis. Like it says about the mitzvah of tzitzis. Now, I don't know about you guys. When I put on my tzitzis in the morning, I wish that I felt the hischachus and the tam and the reach of what the mitzvah of tzitzis is all about. The only time I recently heard, remember the singer that I told you that I was my gadol that died a few weeks ago, Meir Banai? When he became about Tshuva and eventually put on tzitzis, he called his cousin, who was also a rabbi, he says, you're not going to believe it, but I feel like I have wings. When he put on tzitzis, I've been putting on tzitzis for 35 years, 33 years. I never felt like I have wings. I like it. I would like to believe that, it's Arba Kanfos. And once in a blue moon, when I learn the Torah about, about a beged, p'til tchel, whatever it is, then I can connect it. But I don't actually feel the mitzvahs that are not blue tam v'argasha. Further, this morning I put on tefillin. I'm putting on tefillin since I'm 13. I think you guys, some of you have as well, right? You know how much avoda I have to do in order to feel the tam and the reach of the mitzvah of tefillin? When was the last time putting on tefillin felt new to me? Maybe Motzei Pesach and Motzei Sukkos, because I didn't put it on for a week. Other than that, when was the last time I felt hischachus? It only feels hischachus through the work of learning about it, the toiling of working about it, and the hasmada, the atmada, when you do something constantly,
Repetition, persevering.
Yeah, the hatmana, there's a word for it. Thank you. Through the consistency. Yeah, through the consistency. That's really the word here. To be consistent is a very hard. However, anyone that's in corporate, anyone that's in the business world knows that without, you can have the biggest brain in the world, without consistency, your brains don't get you that far and doesn't help anybody. You need to be absolutely consistent. Why do we think that's different when it comes to Avodas Hashem? Imagine an employee with...
the catchers have been consistent with koach.
Exactly. You can't just be consistent and show up because, at least I made it. You got to be consistent with renewal. Right. And that, but the consistency with the hard work shows you what that gives you. He says, mesugal, that brings you to the place of hitchachut that comes from you. Yeah.
But from a Maisa point of view, we have to learn about the chashivas of tzitzis and tefillin and all these things. Otherwise, it's great to come in the morning and say, I want to feel great about putting on tefillin, but if I don't really understand what tefillin even are and what they do and what's in them and how it works with the strap and everything, we could tell ourselves all day, like, okay, even tzitzis, like, great, let me feel it, but unless practically we take it and say, let me learn about it, let me raise it up, let me know what to even think about what I'm doing, like, it won't. It's a nice thought, but it probably won't last.
I think that's part of what he refers to as the amal, the egiyah, the hard work about it. It's not, I don't know about you guys, but it's not, in the beginning, when you start learning, it's not like, let's open up the Orach Chaim and learn, and Hilchos Tzitzis. I'm doing a sivuv right now of Shulchan Aruch, and I've been avoiding it because I know that now for the next few weeks we're going to be learning Hilchos Tzitzis and Orach Chaim and Shulchan Aruch, right? It's not like when you learn Hilchos, I don't know, it's something else that's much more, Hilchos Tzitzis is not exactly, it could be, and it gets to be something that feels renewal when what? When there's consistency, and when there's amal and yegiyah, and when there's davening over it. Al derech she'ema. So he brings over here the mitzvah of tzitzis as the perfect example, as something that you don't necessarily feel the ta'am. However, through its consistency and through working hard through it, it brings within you this inyan of hischadshus. How do we know this? Leman tizkeru, where it says by tzitzis, leman tizkeru, v'asisem es kol mitzvosai. We say this in the mitzvah of tzitzis, that what you should do this so that you remember what life is all about, and then eventually you'll do all of my mitzvahs. Really, from what? What would I think would normally be the trigger that would then make me want to keep all the Torah and mitzvahs? What would I think? When I get completely blitzed high off something that makes me feel so enthusiastic about it. So no. You're going to look at tzitzis, and you're going to remember. You're going to look at something that doesn't seem exactly like this is like blowing your mind. However, you're going to see this is something that I put on myself every single day, and I'm working every day so hard towards trying to understand why I take my tzitzis in my hand and kiss it. And I put it over my eyes and I kiss it. So you look at yourself. It's not that you understand even what you're holding in your hand, but you see that you're capable of doing something every single day without even tasting it. But eventually, you know in your heart, that will lead you to what? Leman tizkeru v'asisem es kol mitzvosai. And then what's the next 3 words? Li'isem kedoshim v'laichem. And you become holy to your God. Not because God said, now you're holy, but because you took a beged, you took that which you put on by yourself, and you made it into something that is mekudash to Hashem. Shema'aseh ha-mitzvah shel tzitzit, the actual action of mitzvah, not only learning about mitzvah tzitzis, but putting tzitzis on, the actual ma'aseh mitzvah shel tzitzis, mesugah lahavin yedei zchira, is capable of bringing the person to a place of remembering what it's all about. He says, so too, it's like this with all mitzvahs that you do. Once you remember that it's not just about showing up, consistency, once you remember that it's about showing up and working on it, and viewing the word work as a privilege and an opportunity, then the koach to be mechadesh, a feeling like it's new, not just happens more often, it lasts for much longer. Because, to keep on reawakening a spark, it's a very hard thing. Even to get it lit is hard, but to keep on, getting it, like you light a candle, the neshama, it's a very hard thing to do. And once you do it, it's amazing. But what's even harder? We have to rekindle it every single morning. That's even harder. To rekindle marriages, to rekindle all those places all the time, it's a very hard thing. So, again, why didn't the Torah begin with the first mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, based on what he said right now? Because if it was just given to us right away at the get-go, we wouldn't have any strength to ever think that we could do this on our own as well. We would just always wait for godly highs to just come down on us, to give us the batteries to keep on going, but that doesn't last. The reason why Kiddush HaChodesh, the first mitzvah, which is the mitzvah of renewal, comes now, is because koach ma'asa v'gid le'amol. Because for a book and a half, God is telling us, not to quote the former President Hussein, but God is telling us, yes, you can. That's what the last book and a half is talking about. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You can do this. You can do this. Now you see how strong you are? Now I'm going to give you the first mitzvah. Once you've seen how strong you are, that you lasted through slavery and you still held on with such hard work and toil, now you're ready for the first mitzvah. And what's the first mitzvah? Hitchadshut. Renewal. So Lavai, Be'ezer Hashem, we should be zocheh, should be privileged to eventually taste all the mitzvahs that we do. But until we taste the tam and the reach and we smell the actual or the light that is coming out of the mitzvahs that we're doing day in and day out, we shouldn't feel like idiots by doing things that we don't understand every single day. We should feel like soldiers that are faithful to the strength that the captain is giving. A real captain, a real mefaked, a real ramatkal, is someone that doesn't walk around his armies and tell him, look how strong your captain is. That won't help him at all in war. Right? That won't help the sergeant. That's not going to help mefaked at all if he's spending his time telling his soldiers, look how strong your own captain is. It's not going to make anyone feel any better about anything. We all know that a real captain is someone, a real sergeant is someone that understands that he needs to infuse the notion of renewal and strength amongst his people. He's busy walking around, checking out the people and saying, look how strong you guys are. That's what God's been doing for the last book and a half. And that's why it comes at a beautiful time this Shabbos when we leave Egypt, saying, now I'm ready to give you the secret of, now you're ready to do this on your own, to renew yourselves. HaChodesh hazeh lachem. HaChodesh hazeh lachem. This is in your power. Shekach.
Yeah.
It's also a prelude to when Hashem will be like a